All right, we are live. I am very,
Yeah.
very excited to welcome you all to this interview with Karyn Parkinson from Unstoppable eCommerce. I'm super excited to hear all about your Profit First journey, Karyn, and I'd love to start by asking you, who are you and what do you do?
Sure. Thanks so much for having me today. Excited to be here. So I'm Karyn Parkinson, as you mentioned, and I've got Unstoppable eCommerce, which is an agency and training school for small business owners that have online stores. So anyone that's looking to sell more on their online store, we offer programs right through from setting up your first online store on Shopify to how to sort of sell more. And we do everything from getting your website ready to convert better to getting more traffic through Facebook ads and things like that.
So everyone needs a Karyn in their life, then, in other words.
Everyone needs a Karyn. Yeah, of course. If you've got an online store, definitely.
Awesome. And how long have you been operating for?
With Unstoppable eCommerce, been going actually tomorrow. It'll be 3 years.
That's super exciting. Well, congratulations on your almost 3-year anniversary.
Thank you.
I would love to dive in and ask you some Profit First questions.
Yeah, let's do it.
And my first is, how did you even come across Profit First?
Good question. It's up there somewhere. I read the book. So I read Mike's book, Profit First. It was just recommended to me by another entrepreneur. And they were like, no, you seriously need to read this. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. And I was like, oh, I wish I'd had this years ago. My first business, I ended up $50,000 in debt to the ATO.
You're not alone.
I wasn't using this. And I was like, as soon as I read it, I was like, this would never have let me get into that mess. So it was definitely a little bit late, but I'm glad I found it when I did.
Absolutely. So what did you do? Like, did you go full implementation immediately?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Tell me about that.
Full head first dived in, set up all the accounts and a couple of extras. I had about 7 accounts going, had an extra one for super so that everything was kind of split out. And just also set up a spreadsheet. Love a good spreadsheet. So I had on the spreadsheet all of our monthly expenses, so all of our subscriptions, and then all the income coming in. And then I kind of worked out the percentages based on, how many clients we had at the time, things like that, so that we always knew what the percentages were. And then the next sheet automatically pulled through. I'd put in the amount of money that was in my income account, and it would break up based on the percentages on the first sheet and tell me how much to transfer. So it was like a copy paste, and I could really easily make my transfers each. I think I did it every couple of weeks. Yeah.
Beautiful. And so you've mentioned that you had an ATO debt. Were there any other challenges that you were facing before you implemented Profit First?
Really just not knowing what money was mine to spend, I guess. So taking back to my first business before I implemented this, the reason I got into debt is because I would look at my account and go, oh, great, there's all this money in there. Awesome. I'll book a conference, or I'll buy that new computer, or I'll do something like that. And then my VAS would get processed and they'd be like, okay, you owe us all this money. I'd go, oh, that's what that was in there for. So just having everything in one account, I never knew what was mine to spend, what was owing for something, what was coming in. It was just one big mess, really.
And that's the thing, it's the clarity. We work from our bank accounts. It's who we are as humans.
Yeah.
I do it as well. I literally open up my bank accounts and go, okay, what can I do? And if it's in one bucket, it makes it really hard. Did you find the changes happened immediately, or did it take some time?
With this business, we implemented Profit First from day one. So that was really, really good. With my other business that I had before, I did do the switch. And I just found once I did switch over, it took a couple of weeks to obviously have some money in the different buckets and things like that, different accounts. But then it just started making a lot more sense. I can look at it, the operating expenses, the OPEX is the one I kind of look at the most and go, okay, well, this is my monthly OPEX. This is how much is in there. Oh, maybe I can afford to go and do this, or I can afford to, buy these T-shirts for students, or like whatever it might be that I'm hoping to spend some extra money on.
Awesome. And so you mentioned that you also set up other accounts. What other accounts do you use within the Profit First methodology?
Yeah, so I separated out super. I just found that was a little bit easier. Also because we sync it up with Xero. And that way, whenever super's due, it just off it goes from that account. Yeah, so I can always make sure there's enough in that one. And then so I've got my BAS separate, my yearly tax separate, and then the normal OPEX, income, profit, and then owner drawings as well. So where my wage comes out of is in another account. So I think 7 all up.
Beautiful. And I love the fact that you've separated it to make your life easier. Most people say, oh, no, more bank accounts. It's going to create more work.
Oh,
what are you doing? What's your thoughts around that?
Have them all. As long as you're getting free ones. So one of the first mistakes, well, it wasn't a mistake. We signed up with a bank that was free. So no monthly fee. And then they implemented fees. So all of a sudden, we were paying $70 a month, over $800 a year in bank fees. And it was like, so I've just done the change back to another bank that doesn't charge monthly fees. And if they're free, you might as well have as many accounts as you like. So we work with e-commerce brands, and we recommend that they have another bucket for like buying in materials, or like those raw costs, or if they're buying wholesale, like one to pay for their stock. So I actually think the more the better, because you can really clearly see what you've got to spend on different things.
Absolutely. And I think let's just touch on that point for a second, because you obviously deal with all of the e-commerce stuff. And one of the biggest, I guess, killers for that industry is how much people can overspend on their product or
they'll get like an email from their wholesaler with a sale and go, oh yeah, beauty, I'll buy it because it's on sale. And not realizing that actually they didn't have the extra funds to do that.
Exactly. And I know that through my experience with other e-commerce sellers, that is the biggest problem. And they don't actually realize that 80% of all their income coming in is what's going out to these products. And so that materials and subs or product account, and I guess the key is to name it something that's meaningful to the business, is an absolute lifesaver. So I love the fact that you recommend that. I have a slightly different question. Did you notice any changes in the way that you thought about your business and your money by implementing Profit First?
Yeah, I think actually making sure that I paid a wage was really important. And when we started the business, that was a really small wage, right? It was less than minimum wage, but it was important to physically be seeing money come in from the business every week. And then as the income grew, we just changed those percentages a bit. And even just having that same percent, but obviously that amount of money was going up, we could see. And I think it was like 2% profit. And I think our first lot of profit was maybe like $300. Like, yeah.
Amazing.
But then, it grew. And I think it's just important. So many people, we say at the beginning, is it a hobby or is it a business? If you're not making money and you're not paying yourself a wage, it's just a hobby, right? It's just a really expensive, or you've just bought yourself a job where you work twice as many hours and like never get to stop thinking about it. So yes, you can go into a selling online and having something for a passion, but it's got to pay you as well. So I think being able to see everything separately, it also makes you realize just how much you're spending on all those monthly costs, like all those little subscriptions add up, right? I think to start with, I worked out we were spending like almost $15,000 a month just on monthly recurring. It's like, it's only $50 here, it's only $20 there, it's $500 here for this. And then I'm like, oh, this is way too much. So really scaled back to, if I don't need it, if I haven't used it for a month, we can it.
I love it. So really what I'm hearing is the mental load of not knowing where things are going was eliminated by implementing Profit First, because you could see immediately what it was that you could spend your money on within the various bank accounts. The other thing was you can easily identify the expenses that creep up for everyone. You're not alone in that as well. And we're able to make those changes. So did that mean that you became more efficient in the type of subscriptions and softwares that you used as well?
Definitely. And also just less stressed about everything with money. So when that BAS came through, I remember the first BAS that came through in this business when we started with Profit First, and I had even more than what was due sitting in that account. And I was just like, usually the BAS came through and that was like huge anxiety, like, oh my gosh, I've got to up my payment plan, like, oh, I've got to pay more. Like within 2 years of when we started Profit First, I was able to pay off my debt from the previous business with the ACO, so that was amazing. And just always having it comes in and you've got the money just sitting there in a BAS account, and it's like, yes, you know, you can pay your staff because that money's sitting there ready to pay them. Your super bill comes, you're like, no worries, it's here, off you go. So I think that's really important. And it could be that you've got another account that is like extra money to pay off debt, or, you know, you can just do so much with it and personalize it to your own needs. It doesn't have to be exactly as it's written in the book.
And I love that. And that's the thing, is it's really understanding what you want your business to do for you, which circles back to what you were saying, Karyn, in relation to, you know, is it a business or a hobby? Are you just buying yourself a job, or is this something that's going to, you know, fulfill your personal purpose through having the funds to be able to do those things? And therefore, once you can be really clear about that, the setup can be completely bespoke to the business. Yeah. And, you know, for you, the stress was BAS, ensuring that you had enough for, you know, super and all of those sort of things, as well as being able to see what you could spend from your, you know, OPEX account for the additional things that you want to do. For someone else, it may just be initially having enough money to pay themselves, which is so common for business owners, where they, you know, go into this business thinking that it'll eventually just work out and they'll have the money to be able to spend on whatever they need to, and they're not paying themselves. And that's
so I recommend from day one you pay yourself, even if it's like this mediocre amount. Yep. It's just to get in the habit of actually paying yourself and seeing that your business, I think that's got to be right up there with being able to pay your suppliers and get the stock in and all your subscriptions. You just make it a set thing that you have to pay yourself each week. Otherwise, it'll keep being that thing that you put off. Oh, one day I'll make more money and I'll pay myself. One day I'll do that, one day. And then that day never comes because you get in the habit of not paying yourself.
That's it. And it's totally Parkinson's law all over again. If you don't prioritize the spending of or paying yourself, then you'll always use the funds on other things. It's just the way that it is. And so I love the fact that you recommend always pay yourself. It should be up there. And I guess on that note, go ahead.
I was going to say, one of my favorite analogies, I'm pretty sure it was from Mike's book, but it might be from another one, was when you use the toothpaste and you've only got the tiny bit left in the tube, you will find a way to squeeze that little bit out and use that. And you'll use this tiny little bit for weeks and weeks and weeks. But when you first get a new one, you like squeeze heaps on there. And it's like you make do with what you've got. So you will find a way to pay yourself a wage if it's on that list of things that you have to do.
Absolutely. I love it. And I love the fact that that book has spoken to you so much that the toothpaste has like remained as
every time I use the toothpaste at the end, I think of it and I'm like, yeah. You know.
You're also not alone in that, because I think every single Profit First professional and anyone that read the Profit First book thinks of it when they're brushing their teeth. So there you go. I love it. And so we've spoken about the fact that there are, you know, different goals for different businesses. You mentioned that you started off with a smaller profit percentage. How has that changed over time for you? How have your percentages changed?
So I try not to keep things at the same percentages, because as the income increases, it's really easy to just go, well, I'll increase the OPEX too, and I'll spend more, like I'll advertise more, or I'll, you know, whatever it might be. So yes, I do increase it a bit because, you know, more ads, more income, that sort of thing. But I like to go, well, if the income's increased, how about I actually put up the profit percentage? Or for me, I'm like, why don't I pay myself more? That'd be nice. You know, that sort of thing. So I do find that it's really helped being able to have so much control over the income coming into the business. And I think that's empowering for a lot of small business owners to actually do that as well, because you don't have to be an accountant to follow this system. It's really simple.
Love it. Yes, like,
I'm absolutely totally dyslexic, and I'm not like a huge numbers person, and this still all makes sense to me. So yeah, I don't think that it's this. I think because there's so many accounts, people think it's complex, and it's really hard to do, and it actually simplifies things so much.
And so I haven't said that, everyone. Karyn has, and I did not pay her to say that. It really is simple.
Not sponsored by Profit First.
Did you find any challenges with the implementation?
Oh, really just the when we started getting the fees and then we had to switch across to another bank, it was like, oh, okay, I'll go do it again. But I found once you kind of set up a business bank account, it can be a little bit harder than a normal personal bank account, because you've got to, if you're a company, you've got to prove your identity and the trustees and all that sort of stuff shareholders, and that was a little bit more complex. But once you've got that all sorted, I just opened up the accounts online. Like they were ready within a few seconds, and I was just like, and again, and again, and again. And then like last night, I was like, oh no, I want another one. And I just went through, and within a few minutes, it was in my account. So actually setting them up is super simple. And most apps let you nickname them. So I've got them all nicknamed so that I know when I'm transferring and stuff what goes to what.
And I love that. And that is a tip. And that's definitely something that we like to remind people of. It has to be meaningful. So use the nickname. Don't just try and remember the end of the account number and that sort of thing. Because that's when the sets back in again.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that you nickname that. Another question for you is how have you celebrated using the Profit First distribution?
Ooh, well, definitely like the stress-freeness has been great. But the first big profit check that we got actually renovated my laundry at my old house. So that was really exciting to go, my business actually paid for this, I think my husband loved that because he was like wanting to do it. I'm like, we can do that this month while we're on holidays and things. He's like, but how? And I'm like, I pulled some profit out of the business. Like, this is exciting. So that was definitely a celebratory moment. Yeah.
That's awesome. And the fact that and this is what a lot of people miss. They see the profit sitting there in cash for the first time, or it's grown to a number that you're like, wow, I never thought I'd get to that. And there's this tendency to want to reinvest it in your business. Which
you don't have to. You're allowed to pull that out.
Love it. Can you say that again for everyone?
Yeah. For those in the back, spend that money on yourself. And actually, I found, and this is going back to like my old business of more the money mindset stuff, but I always had this goal, like to get this much per month and to earn an income. And then when I got to that goal, I didn't do anything. I didn't celebrate it. And then I got to like the next goal. I'm like, I really want to make 6 figures in my business one day. I really want to make 6 figures. And I worked years and years and years to get there. And then I was with a friend in Melbourne and I'm like, damn it, I'm going to celebrate this. And I went to Tiffany and bought myself a necklace. I went to Mimco and bought myself a bag. And I remember spending like nearly $500 that day, which was huge for me, right? And I said to her, I'm going to celebrate this milestone because if I don't, then I'm not going to hit the next one. So that was a huge shift for me to actually like not just make the goals and then go, oh, that was cool. I'm going to go on. I now want to get more. I want to get, the next thing. But actually now I set myself, when I get this goal, I'm going to do this for myself. Like I'm going to buy something cool that I wouldn't normally do. So I think celebrating those milestones is really important.
I absolutely love that. And I guess what I would love to know from you is, for business owners that have either heard of Profit First or are inspired by your own experience of it, what's a tip that you could give them so that they could get started with Profit First?
Just stop putting it off. Just do it. It really is super simple. If you're already banking with someone that you are happy with, then just set up the accounts. Usually you can do it either online or give them a call, go in, whatever your deal is that you like to do, set yourself up with things and just go for it. And one thing I do is whenever I'm transferring from one account to the other, I will always label the transaction like income to OPEX so that when I'm doing it on Xero or something, reconciling, it's just so simple to know what was going on. And if I forget to do that, that's where I go, oh, where did this one go? So labeling everything. But yeah, my thing is just start. You don't have to make it really deluxe. You don't have to go 7 accounts like me straight away. You could even just do a few, get used to the system, and then you'll find that you love it so much that you start to make more accounts and go, oh, I could have one for this and one for that.
I absolutely love that. And thank you for that tip of naming the transfers, because that's where a lot of things get undone for people.
Yeah.
Because they're like, especially if you're not doing it on a daily basis where you're doing your reconciliations and stuff, you look back at it and go, oh, and that comes.
So I've got that in my spreadsheet. So next to the amount that I have to transfer, I copy and paste that, and then it's got the description and I copy and paste that. So that way it's always just there and I don't have to type it out each time.
You've got all the tips. I love it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your Profit First journey with us. It's been
You're most welcome.
Delight. And yeah, if anyone wants to find out more about what you do, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
So you can find us at Unstoppable eCom, so ECOMM.com, or just check us out on Facebook or Instagram at Unstoppable eCom.
Love that. Thank you so much, Karyn. And
no worries at all.
next month, everyone.
Great. Thank you.